Life lives forever. There's one steady life in everything that lives. And it is indeed going on forever. I mean, you feel it, you know it, you flow in it, and it really perplexes you why we have to be born and died. I mean, birthing ain't so bad once you get through the pain of it and all that stuff. Well, it's the same with death. Once you're in that, the pain goes away and you never have to feel it again. Unless you want to. I mean, when you're living on that so-called other side, you can take any kind of ride you want. You can be free to experience any moment in time. But it's not the same as being in the 3D. See, this is where it's critical that we get our roots down just right, and see through the lives we've been living in. And it starts with a simple thing, with a couple admitting their own basic dishonesty between each other. That's simple. But really, that couple's inside of you, and it's a triple, too. Your heart, your soul, and your presence of consciousness. Your mind. See, these things have to be unified. It's always a triad. It's not a duad. The duad is the polarity, and that's where the regret is. That's where the death is. Because then you got two poles. You got life and you got death. You got positive, you got negative, and death is the negative as we see it from here. And that's what all the programming around us tells us. Death is an awful thing. Be afraid. Run from this death. But if death itself passes away, in other words, the illusion of separation between the realities called spirit and physicality, well, there's nothing to fear anymore. And the military won't have anything to do except, sit around, play with themselves, and maybe figure something out. Maybe it ain't so bad being blown away in that way. Maybe, you're finally coming around, and now you just want a Tonka truck and a big old beach to play sandbox in. I'm telling you, you generals and admirals and privates and all the rest of that thing, colonels and whatever they do, the rank and serial number 2. Get out there and build some sand castles today. Show us the way. And listen, you've been sitting on a powder keg forever because a bunch of rich guys been pushing you around. Well, you know where they're to be found. I mean, we got them locked away down in Antarctica, Dave. We do. And baby, they're not going to bother you. What you're dealing with right now, they're clones. You can tell the difference. You've been around, you've been in the military. You know what a clone is. Don't you know? Yes, indeedy, see. We're setting you free, babies. You don't have to be under that thumb anymore. The money means nothing. It's worthless. And there's no power in it. And those that have bought and paid for you now are like, bankrupt. There's nothing there. There's no interest in the money anymore, and there's no interest upon it either, you see. The money thing, because it makes no sense to measure out creativity and dole it out in tiny little portions according to what you got in your pocket in the way of dollar bills and shit. I mean, that's just dumb. Dumb. I never could figure that out. When I was a little kid, man, I knew. I lived in a small neighborhood there on the edge of this little farming town. But we had a big old farming operation. That was our headquarters there. So we were kind of like the biggest place on the block. But there were about half a dozen other families living there. And I just couldn't understand why we didn't all cooperate together and, make it easier on everybody else, by providing for one another. Like we could provide food, they could provide labor, etc. It just amazed me that we had to go and work for wages. My daddy made sure I knew that one real early. He put me on the payroll when I was 12, so I went from the status of a unpaid slave to being a working fool, man, on the time clock, don't you know? $1 an hour, baby. And then he's charging me $1 a day to live there, too. Don't sound like much now, does it? Back in those days, $1 was a lot of money, man. Shit. I was considered one of the richer kids around my little crowd, and I didn't have much money either, but I had more than most of them did. Of course, there were others who, their daddies was executives or professors or lawyers or something like that. And they had it far better than I did, because their parents, being more citified, tended to spoil the child a whole lot more and give them a car or whatever the hell they wanted, Not this kid, babies. I had to pay for everything, man. Ooh, and I learned not to like it at all. Yet, I could do it, and I could have fun with it too, man. And, when it was fun, I didn't care. But when it was like obligation, ooh, man, that's when my communalistic tendencies would come forward, and I say, why do we have to measure this out like this? Why do I have to, struggle harder than the next guy just to have the same thing, because I'm getting paid less? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. When people really did love each other, for example, the neighbor's house had a fire and burned the roof right off of it, Well, the rest of the neighborhood got together and built their house back for him, and helped him live in a little trailer while we were doing it, etc. These kind of things were common in our reality back in those days. We were still pretty close to the frontier, pretty close to our pioneer roots. Those that had brought it up in the first place, those that had taken it away from the natives and made it into something different than what it was before. They thought they were blossoming out a desert. Well, we were still trying to blossom that thing, and it was a struggle, man. All the time. There was constant contention in our reality we had to deal with. And it amazed me that we could be so decent to one another in some circumstances, and in others on the day-to-day life, it was brutal. And I saw this from a little kid. Now, most of my neighbors weren't big business people, so it wasn't so bad in our hood. But the town around us, and some of them city slickers, some of them attorneys and business people, oh my goodness. They were like saints on Sunday, We were like in a Mormon reality. So everybody went to church on Sunday, and everybody had to pay their dues and all that shit. And they had a time where everybody, people would take turns standing up and talking about how blessed they were and what great saints they were because they were so blessed and all this shit, A way of bragging about your reality or bitching and moaning about your family or something like that. Oh, it was interesting, but come Monday morning, those boys and girls would sell, boys mainly, because the girls weren't allowed too much then. This was a real patriarchal society, you wouldn't believe it, and so authoritarian. But see, now I look at it and I know what they were doing to us. That was social programming, man. It was a huge experiment played on a remote population. But getting back to the, the business world and so forth, these people were criminals. They'd steal from their mamas. They'd steal from their kids. They'd steal from anybody to get a little richer. They'd stop at nothing. Integrity, well, you had to make a show of it in those days. But babies, it wasn't really what was there to play, man. Now, there were some integritous people in business there, and I admired those folks. They really tried to be decent about it. And, of course, their businesses only went so far. They were big enough, but they'd never get real big because they just weren't willing to compromise. And I admired that because there was a few of them, but darn few of them. The bulk of the population was greedy and needy. Felt that empty feeling that they thought money could provide that feeling because they weren't getting it anywhere else. Their wives and husbands hated them, their kids too. Yet they all pretended to be such saints on Sunday, man. No more lies, see, oh babies, And that old world has been there like that. It's dissolving, it's sputtering to a halt now and dying. And it's about time we gave death to shit like that and life to our own loving hearts. And learn to remember that we do have a communal dream and a communal interest in every moment that we live. That no one is above anyone, nor is anyone below. We're all in this together, no matter what part we've been assigned here. It's going to take some huge leaps in conscious presence to get you guys out of the mire of that old satanic bullshit of buying and selling and enslaving people because of it, of stealing natural resources, raping your Mother Earth, as if that's something honorable to do and you're getting rich by it. Look what slavery you got now, man. You're going to kill off the earth rather than let the people have what they already deserve, which is totally free energy, a totally clean planet. We got all the technology that we need to do that right now. hidden in the background somewhere under the cap of some dark-ass military bullshit, which is there in that dark sort of way to hold the presence of that stuff until we were ready for it. And now that we are, now that we've had enough of the patriarchal D-head kind of way, we're ready to let the mother sun come into play. To let this age of truth, this age of the blue star begin by gathering together with the heart inside. Taking that magic carpet ride, riding on the carpet of the sun. The beams thereof too, babies, I'm telling you. The old ways are done, the old ways are through. And that's why there's so much panic around here, even in the governmental places. They're ready to throw martial law right on top of you. They ain't going to be able to do it. There won't be anybody to enforce it. Not even the foreign troops they have in place here, just for such purposes, and that have been here for a number of years, snuck in under the wire. Man, the covert shit gone on in our governmental ways, oh man, when you start to see it, I mean, you know, you're amazed at how deep and broad the corruption goes. Like nobody has any integrity left. There wasn't much to begin with, but what little there was is gone. They don't even pretend anymore. Look at Cheney, look at W, look at Billary. I mean, son of a gun, these people just throw it in your faces. We're crooks and we're damn proud of it. We can do voter fraud. We can steal. The last 3 elections have been completely stolen, and probably all the ones before that, but the last 3 visibly so. I mean, presidential elections here in the USA, it's going away, man. It's dissolving away. The government is done. Its day in the sun is going to burn it away. There's not a guiltless party there anywhere. There's some that are far more decent than others, but everybody's played the game. And that corruption is being revealed now. There's no way the program media, the propagandists can hold it back. There's no way a psyops is going to stall it off, though. They're going to try and throw them at us, but the calmer we get inside, the less we see of us and them. See, that's the concept that dissolves away, the need to be richer or poorer than anyone, the need to have it over another in any way. Because we feel what? Insufficient? And we don't feel sufficient till we take it away from somebody else? That's a bully. And that's business, right? And that's our government, too. Across the earth, not just this one, but because this one's pretty much infiltrated every other one, as we're coming to see. Putin, I'm sorry, but even you, yeah, everybody's been bought and paid for some way. I'm glad you're bucking it a bit. I hope you can get away with it. But guess what? Your whole nation's dissolving away right along with ours. There won't be anything to fight about, see? Because we're doing the unity thing. That's where we begin, in the unification with life. When we begin to feel that's the deal that makes it real. And we flow into this life, we become far more gracious because that's the feeling of it. Grateful for what we have and able to expand on it in very creative ways without having to manufacture it from the earth and take it from her rocks and forests and oceans and so forth. We give it back to her. We clean her up. We get her shiny bright, man, so that she's happy, so that we can be happy. Because if the mother's not happy, you know how it goes in any family. If mama's not happy, no one else is going to be either. That's just the way it's always been. Doesn't have to be that way again now, does it? No more lies. So let's make this agreement with our Mother Earth right now, that no matter what stage of development we're at, or how far we got to go, or how close we are even, we're not going to rape you anymore, Mama. We're going to treat you as right and as respectful as we can, and we're going to bring forward the technology. You got all these dark dudes and dudettes to hide out from us, because their bosses are gone away on a little vacation. They thought the end was here already, and they're really pissed that they didn't get away with it. But, you know, being pissed is just a bitter disappointment, that's all. So what? Get over it, man. Get on with it, you know. Now we got them trapped in the place of the sun, where the sun and the mother begun. The Antarctica babies, I tell you, they got this secret big old city underground down there, under the ice. And they ain't been nice. They've been spreading a Nazi rule across this planet from down there, you see. Not realizing that they were not just in the most remote place on earth, but living in the very crown of her heart. And that this whole reality was about to rearrange itself and live in truth. No more lies. No more deception in this 3D, let alone everywhere else that we be. We're setting ourselves free because of the 100th monkey that got it quite some time ago. And that monkey was a human one, so monkey around with that for a while, babies. We snuck it in on you when you weren't even looking, and now it's following a natural flow. So you might as well give it up right now, don't you know? I mean it. Just let it go. No more big plans like that. Just the basic and quite urgent desire to be free inside yourself and fair with everyone else. To let this equity come into play. To give up the financial way entirely. Give it a boot. We don't need it when we live in the creative aspects. We got the technology right now to prove it to ourselves that just like these computerizations and the telephones that go with them, etc., they're there to reconnect us. Well, more or less telepathically. And that's what they do, too. With technology, they suggest our reality so that we can catch on. So we do start this so-called telepathic communication through the telephones and the computers and so forth. See how much you feel here? When old Grandpa's getting real with you out there as well as in here, see? That's more than telepathy, of course. Telepathy is just a projection of words. Real communication, real language is the heart and the music in it that creates. I often call it the song of the heart. It's resonation. See, and when you can get settled, when you can feel this rooted feeling, that contented side that's really orgasmic, that makes all life just expand and grow and be happy, don't you know, when you get to that point. Well, the emptiness is full. And so is the reality around you, and all the experience in it is rich. Rich, rich, rich. That's why I throw old Elmer Fudd in here every now and then, like he just won the lottery. Oh boy, I'm rich. Well, all of us won the lottery. And I got to tell you, the odds were stacked against us, the same as they are in the lottery. And I got to tell you, most of your lotteries are fixed, one way or the other. You know, I mean, you got that kind of money around, you think they're just going to let you have it, clown? Ain't no way. You go ahead and win one. You know, get your psychic gifts up and win one. Because you knew what the numbers were. You're going to have a man with a gun there talking to you about, you're cheating, baby, and we know it, and we ain't giving you shit. Or, on the other side of it, okay, you can have this big prize, we'll give you 1% of it, we get the rest. Now get out of our way. See, that's the way the game's played here, baby. You don't see what goes on in the background because you've been living in a lie. The lie that somebody would just up and give you a few $100 million because you're such a nice person and you spent $2 on a ticket. You all had beginnings similar to mine, no matter what kind of hood you grew up in. You know, you all had a dream inside of yourself for a communal way, but around you wasn't being very communal, except in certain ways. Gangsters at play, shit like that. Taking care of the community, you see. Sometimes it's the mafia, taking care of the community. Harsh shit, but that's the way you go. Depends on the neighborhood, but it's always that way. And it's always, you know, well, at least some neighborhoods more honest than others, because some don't even pretend to be a bunch of heartfelt saints. They just pretend to be what they are, mean little gangsters. You know? And everybody just better get out of the way. But if you do that, then you get to play, you know. If you just kowtow to them a little bit, they let you have your way, etc., you know. No more lies. That's the surprise, see, because today, this tripping Tuesday, I think everybody's getting it underway one way or another. I'm telling you, the money has proven itself so worthless. You know, they're trying to, foment actually an economic disaster. So they have another excuse to impose martial law. Look through give them a laugh. Love them out of their weaponry, man. Love them back into their heart. Why would anybody be so empty as want to bitterly rule over the earth and kill everybody off and rule what few are left with nothing but bitter cruelty? Isn't that a sign that you really hate yourself and hate the creation you live in and want to destroy it all? Isn't that what that's saying? Isn't that the exact opposite of what love would have? And see how much you love to hate. And there's love in that. It even created the hate, man. So that someone could experience it. So we could all know it. And get through it. Live the lie. So that we could appreciate truth. Know the bitterness so we can know the sweetness too, man. And not a bittersweet thing left. Just the bright sunlight of love glowing forward, because we're tripping, babies, and tripping hard into our own reality. And we didn't even have to take no LSD from the CIA or the NSA or the DEA? Biggest drug dealers around, man. And now I find out, from various sources that, God, they've been moving the drugs around. Our own governmental people have been moving the drugs and weapons around with UFOs, man. I mean, their own, what better way to do it? No customs, no inspection, no nothing. Just beep bop, because you're not visible. Think they're really getting away with something, don't they? See, but the fact that somebody as dumb as me and as disconnected from that reality as I am can know that kind of information pretty much reiterates that the age of truth is on, see. And you can know all of what's going on here if you just put away your own prejudice, your own fear. Because you've lived in a lie, and it's no big deal to admit it to yourself, but it seems like death itself. It's something to fear, right? Well, if dying is living, why should you fear that then? Why not let the lie die? Why not give up the illusion? I mean, haven't we learned our lessons already? Aren't we ready for something like that? Ready to go steady with a real heart? Ready to practice life as a real art? And not some fleeting feeling we're always chasing that's just beyond us? The old stick and carrot thing works, doesn't it? To an extent. But sooner or later you're going to get tired of the game and just buck the sucker off and take the carrot and run away, right? Have it your way. We're little donkeys at play. You can't mess with us that way anymore, baby. We're bigger than you are. The bigger we are, the harder we fall. Right in to the dynasty of everlasting creative love. It's as if Antarctica suddenly becomes the brightest place on Earth and the brightest place in the universe, and the whole Earth around her then because of it. Antarctica's the crown atop the mother's head, which is the crown of her heart, and which in its gold presence contains the city of light and all the saints that go with it. It includes you, all of us. And that is connected by spoke-like mountain ranges to every continent there is on this earth. And as they rise up out of the ocean, so does the rest of the land around us. And there's no longer the division of continents. Europe, Japan, Australia, and Hugh has Turtle Island, South America. We're all one big old island floating on the mother love ocean of Earth. The blue star, baby. See, and this is just where we harbor ourselves every now and again. Our real home is in another dimension, which we're resolving into as we accept this one, as it reveals itself to us. I talked a while back about how Mother Earth was turning her golden ass to the sun and going to meld with that one. Well, as a metaphor, of course, but it's really the crown that's coming around. See how we like those that can see it know there is a spiritual energy coming through the crown of your head all the time, and knows that's what this life is made out of. It's kind of like the projection from the center heart that makes you what you are and all of the creation around you. But it's also a spiritual umbilical cord of sorts that can't be separated or disconnected. Because it's energy, it's ethereal as you call it. But it's more real than anything here you ever imagined. And it's what realigns the whole deal. The more conscious you are of your presence in that golden light of love and the rainbow of creation made through you, the better it is for everyone, and the more likely it is that we'll all be living in peace right now. Yeah, you don't have to wait around. Screw it. Time's now. Wouldn't you say? How about that for a little trip on a trippin' 2 is 1 day? Trippin' Tuesday indeedy. Mary J, we love you so. Thanks for helping us along the way and helping us have one hell of a party today, man. It is a trip, I would say. And so would she as she gathers within us and helps us know how it is to sing the song of the heart and be remembered of our creative art and living in it too. The Coyote Medicine Show, bringing you on through the gateway of life today on a Trippin' Tuesday, only on the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, dear. The very center of your universal heart. As we step beside time and feel our heart divine, life is forever a flow, a consistent, steady flow of love in the river stream of life. Steady, consistent, no competition in a stream. Sometimes there's a little eddy, a little whirly, a little backflow where it gets real lazy, don't you know, and a backflow creates a new channel, don't you know. New adventure for the river, you betcha, man. I tell you, and the river is the giver. You see, which lives forever. I mean, it's just in other words, it's forever expansive. It's forever sharing its great wealth with all that surrounds it and bringing life to life, bringing its presence into being. Full time forever, man. Because this is all life knows how to be. When you live beyond time, you live in the expansive side of the thing, the desire to create that cannot abate and always will be exhibited in the shine of the direct sunlight coming from the mother heart through her rainbow of organic creation, man. We are the prism of that creation, P-R-I-Z-M, which means we're the sparkly things for which the direct light turns into creation of rainbows. Everywhere, man, rainbows. We're all made of rainbows. We're all the various colorations of life that life has given us to be, man. Right here in our divine dynasty of love. This 3D was a sacred trust. Can you trust yourself enough to be ripped away from yourself again and again? And when this darkness really starts to act up, can you see through? Do you know what's really there? Do you know what's coming through you? Do you know what happened to you when you were a kid? And how you acted up with this rebellious way saying, stop me, somebody help me deal with this thing. Somebody help me resist. Somebody help me. Get me out of this shit. This darkness, this treachery, this just cannot be. All I see is love. All I want to be is love. I don't want to be this agony. What a ride, eh? That's what you're seeing all around you on this day, and that's what you're feeling inside of yourself, too. Set me free. I don't want to be absent of love any longer. It's too strange. I'm deranged. I'm acting up like a child, gone wild. Out of control, man, with compulsions you couldn't stop if you wanted to. It's a flow too, you know. Like going down the rapids in the river of the life. Getting the hell kicked out of you. But you know, water's designed to do that. We flow through everything. Rapids are a piece of cake for the water. It's the riders on the water that have the trouble and get the thrill. Got to remember that kind of deal. This is why we separated from the stream for a while. To know the thrill of riding it. to know that we, some kind of separation from it, that put it and us kind of in an oppositional way. I mean, it was inconceivable before we came out to play that way. And that's why we've done it to this day, just for the experience of it, because that only adds to our consistent, growing, ever-growing richness. The richness which is born of the gratitude of knowing an attitude other than love. But knowing that love's even in that attitude, because there is no absence of love and there is no absence of life. There's only life ever glowing from the insides of you outward throughout this reality, creating, crazy things like this old man on the mountain. 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky, helping you spread your wings, take flight. You made me do it, man. You brought me to it. I couldn't resist. I couldn't refuse when the call comes, baby. You run. You don't walk. You go. The flow just takes you, don't you know? When you're voluntarily participating in it. See, that's the only real choice there ever could be in life, is to see or not to see. To be, well, you can't not be. But to accept your being, presence as forever growing. The children that are just barely getting going. The babies, we're bringing it back together today because we see through the tragedy. We know why they're at play. We know why the darker days. They're trying to program everyone, play psyops everywhere. Just make it a summer of hell so they can, by fall, impose acquisitions over humanity. My royal backside, they want to be set free. They're tired of the drudgery, the pain. God, can you imagine being that absent that you've got to, control everything right down to the insects? I mean, shit, guys. And torture it all. I mean, what a surprise, eh? What a world of lies. So don't compromise with that shit. Get over it. See through it. Go ahead and jump. It's the bump you've been waiting for, babies. Ooh, one of them guys. I tell you what, I love that Perpetuum Jazzile. That's like the Slovenian national heart in the persons of about 50 a cappella people. Oh my God, the angels singing from that side of the planet. No wonder I often refer to nearby places, another country right next to it's called Lovenya. I think it exists in another dimension right there, kind of simultaneous with Slovenia, don't you? Oh, baby. Love blossoms everywhere. But I know Slovenia in this 3D is one of those special places, just like Crestonia is over on this side of the planet, and Tibet over there a little further around, and, Antarctica, standing as the crown over us all. Now, babies, I know that seems a tale that's rather tall. You don't got to accept it. You don't got to be anything. I'm just explaining to you the happenings of the now. And as we begin, this earth keeps turning towards the sun. Well, we become the multi-dimensional presence, that we're given to be. And in that we're set free. So you start to expand beyond the 3D. You see the larger picture, the consistency, the flow of life. Literally, that which is dead to us now is alive to us then, because we recreate it. We bring it back together. We see the end of death quite naturally inside of our own personal presence. And the bringing forth out of that attitude, the gratitude that, allows us to see ourselves living forever, constantly, beautifully, gathering together to expand quite naturally into the creative reality that surrounds us. To experience it in a gazillion different ways. To know the appreciation of our service to the days and the nights, the errant ways of seasons and cycles. When we know for sure we always live in the flow of the stream of life. Now we just made them husband and wife. The earth, the atmosphere, the sun, which is the one in the heart as well. See, dear? We're getting it clear. The age of the blue star has begun. And it's not something that's going to be shining in the sky around. It's something that comes from within each and every one. The Mama Sun, the Mother of One, of all of creation, That's how it's done. Steady and consistent throughout all living and all presences in all dimensional realities. The same love in motion in each and every person, each and every being and presence, everything that is, and all that shall ever be and ever has been. It's all right now. Steady, consistent. This is what this unreality is telling us by its living and dying. It's going through cycles and seasons. Life is forever. And what you see before you is the illusion of time. Oh, I think your heart's starting to unwind, even though it boggles your mind to conceive of it. Yet you know it's real. You know that's the deal. Now you can just sit down and maybe with a heavy sigh just let it go and embrace it, don't you know, and be it. Flow with that river, that mighty stream of life that flows through you, right through the top of your head, down through your tippy toes, enlightening everything around you as it glows into being, man. The full presence of the mother love. Surprise, surprise, what a beautiful day we got underway in that Coyote way on the Koyote Medicine Show. Only and exclusive on the ever-loving, sweethearted Hazy Radio Network, baby. Now don't you let that brain get in your way. See past the pain. You're not losing it all, you're gaining everything. What you lost is a pittance compared to what shall be. Darlings, all you gotta do is set yourself free, allow it to be. To see your life as the real life that it is. That's the way you get out of this prison, babies, and that's how you bring all the rest of us along with you, because we're a bunch of weakling rascals waiting on you, okay? So you better get your ass out there and jump right now. Get over the edge, man. Get beyond the bullshit. Yeah, the crap that just mires us down. Why is it so dark and desperate right now? Because it needs release, and how? You can't think of a more imprisoned place than that. Because if you could, we'd be living in that anyway. you rascals, you don't even know the flow, yet you do, see? When you set yourself free to be in it, consciously present, life that goes on forever. That which is like, guilty as sin and innocent as all get out. And wouldn't have a shard of guilt or shame, because it knows the game. It understands then the flow, which goes on beyond the medicine show of time. But takes time right along with it, see? Just takes a little time, a little decompression, a little soul confession inside your soft, sweet little hide. The man, yeah, it's been a ride, but, obviously, visibly, a lie. Always. And truth shining through it like crazy. The consistency of life that goes on forever, no matter how bad we tormented ourselves here in the agonies of time. It's the innocence of the divine child that we are, that gets us through. So here's to me, and here's to you, and all the angels that are within and about us, all the family gathering with us, as we experience our moment of release. Let go of the beast, the illusion of the dragon. Ha, ha.
We tell each other